Okay guys, welcome in. I'm going to be showing you how to make a two-toned hair scrunchie today. So we are going to need a hair elastic. I'm using the no break one here, seamless hair tie. And then I have two different colors of 4-weight worsted yarn. And you're also going to need a pair of scissors and a darning needle to sew in your ends. You might need a stitch marker for those beginners. Crocheters, always use a stitch marker. It helps you find your beginning stitches. That's always a good help. And then I am using a 6mm hook today, but you could use a 5, a 5.5, whatever you feel comfortable with, or which matches the gauge of your yarn. All right, so we're going to begin with the red yarn. This is going to be great for Valentine's Day. So we're going to make a red hair scrunchie with a hot pink trim, but you could use any colors that you want. So what I like to do, because we need to leave a tail to weave in our ends, I just make a simple knot around the hair tie, leaving in this end to sew in later. And I just double knot that so it's nice and secure. All right, and then I turn it to make sure that I am going over my tail as I crochet. So if you just hold your yarn so it's underneath where you're going to be adding your stitches. And for those of you who are absolute beginners, I'm going to try to go slow so you can keep up. All right, this is how I hold my hair tie with my fingers to give it some tension. And I control my yarn tension by clipping it right here between my fingers. That's just the way I do it. All right, so you're going to take your crochet hook. I put mine into the hair tie. You go in, yarn over, pull up, and we're going to do yarn over and pull it through. That's a single crochet. We're going to do around, maybe 60, 62 or so for this hair tie, and your count might vary. So you're just going to fill it up as much as you can on your hair tie. All right, so we did one, so we're going to go in, yarn over, pull your yarn up, yarn over, pull through. So that's a single crochet. So I am going to count about 60 more of these. So you can count. I won't mess up your counting, but I will see you when we get to the end of counting. All right, I'm up to 20, and what I'm going to do is just pull that elastic, pull your stitches to make more room. now I'm at 30. All right, now I'm at 40. I'm still pulling. All right, that's 50. Okay, so I added 60 more, so that should be around 62. Your hair tie might stretch a little bit, but that's okay because you're always going to stretch the hair tie to put it on your hair anyway, so stretching it is fine as long as you stretch it just a little bit. So I've got 62 on here. You might have a different count depending on the size of your hair tie and the size of your yarn. All right, so we've got 62 single crochets on here. Again, you could do more or less that you wanted. All right, so to connect this, this is the first single crochet that I did right here. So you're going to see that V. So that's where we're going to go in. And I just do a slip stitch. So a slip stitch is you just insert your hook into those stitches and grab your yarn. And you're going to pull through that stitch and then pull through that last loop. Okay, so that just secures it there. And then what might be easy for you to do now is to just weave in these ends a little bit so that they're not in your way. So you can do that, or you can wait to the end if you want to. So what I like to do is insert my darning needle, and I just make sure that there's a stitch between the end and where I'm going to pull it through. Get it on your darning needle and just pull it through like this. And then I do the same thing going the opposite direction. I make sure that there's a stitch or two between the end and where I'm going to be pulling it through. Just pull it through like that. That way it's nice and secure, and then it's not in your way. All right, and then you can just trim off any extra. All right, so we have our first round of single crochets, and again, I did 62, but you could do a different amount depending on how big your hair tie is. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put 3 double crochets into each of these stitches. So for the first one, we're going to chain up 3. Yarn over, and then we're going to insert our hook in that same spot that we just did our chain 3. So we're going right into here. And we're putting 2 double crochets, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. If any time in this video I'm going too fast, you can always stop, pause the video to catch up, or you can even slow the speed down in settings. So this first chain 3 is counting as our first double crochet, and then we did 2 more into that same stitch. So that counts as 3 double crochets. And now we're going to be putting 3 double crochets into each of these single crochets from the previous round. So each stitch is going to get 3 double crochets. Okay, so we're just going to continue that pattern all the way around until we get to the other side, and I will join you then. This row right here is going to start wiggling and ruffling like this, and that is what you want. So just continue to put 3 double crochets into each of these stitches, and I will see you at this end. Okay, we're getting to the final few stitches, and just spread your hair scrunchie out, and I like to bend it over beneath around the edge of the hair tie to make it easier so I don't snag when I am crocheting next to it. So just continue to make room for yourself and add those 3 double crochets into each of these stitches from the previous row. All right, so I've got one more stitch there. See how I'm folding this around so I'm not snagging it? So just get in that last stitch, and I like to cover up this end so that I'm not snagging it when I'm trying to do those last few stitches, because it is quite crowded there. So just get in your last 3 double crochets into that last stitch. Okay, and this is how your hair scrunchie should look. And we're going to cut this yarn that we're done with. If you don't want to change yarn, just continue. Don't cut your yarn. So we're going to leave a little tail to even the ends. So you can go ahead and cut that yarn. And then I'm going to pick up this hot pink. You can change to any color that you would like, or again, continue and not cutting your yarn if you're going to continue the same color. All right, so I have my red here that we have cut off, and I have my pink here that we're going to add. So this is where we're going to be changing colors. And what I like to do is just sort of get the ends the same length and just hold it right next to your work. And what we're going to do is we're going to just back up this stitch right here and take this out and insert our hook. And then we're going to take this yarn and we're going to lay it right underneath where we're going to pick up the new color. And we're just going to yarn over and pull it through. That way we have it in there like it's the last part of that stitch. And then I go back and I just sort of pull on the red yarn just to tighten that stitch up a little bit. And then what we're going to do is insert it into the 1 to 3rd chain of that first chain 3. So we're going to go right into the top of that stitch, the top of the chain 3 that we did. So this is the V to that top chain 3. We're going to go right into there, and we're going to grab yarn over, grab our hot pink color, and we're just going to pull it through. We're just going to do a slip stitch here. So we pulled it through that stitch, and then we're going to pull it through the loop on our hook. So we have changed colors. And then what I like to do is just turn my work and just put a little knot here so that my yarn doesn't become loose. So I just knot that twice, and we're going to weave in the ends later. And then I'm going to do a chain one with our new color. So just chain one, and then we're going to turn our work around. And don't even worry about these ends right here. We're going to weave them in at a different time. All right, so I'm going to insert my hook right in the top of this row of stitches that we just completed. I'm going to insert my hook right here. All right, we're going right in the top of those stitches, and we're going to do a single crochet all the way around. So you're just going to insert your hook. Make sure you're getting both of those loops of that V. Grab your new color, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. All right, that is a single crochet, so we're going to continue that all the way around into each of these stitches. Again, we're just going in the top of that V. We're getting both loops of that V. You can use any color combination that you want for these hair scrunchies. And I think this little extra single crochet row gives it a nice finishing touch. So I always do this on all of my hair scrunchies, except for the velvet ones, because the velvet is so thick we really don't need this, and it really doesn't show. So just continue adding your single crochet all around. Right, if you ever make one a little too loose, just take it out and go back and redo it. You want a nice consistency, so you don't want to do some that are tight and some that are loose. So if you ever make a stitch that is, no matter what you're doing, and it comes out maybe a little looser or a little tighter than everything else, just go back and take it out and just redo that stitch. That happens all the time, and that's normal. But you want to keep a consistent tension whenever you're crocheting to make your work look nice. It's hard when you're first starting out, when you're a beginner. You tend to be really stiff and tight, and you just got to loosen up a little bit and just make sure everything is flowing, nothing is too tight or too loose, and that is your tension. So as you crochet more and try more projects, the more you crochet, the more your tension will improve. And if you are ever in the situation where you need a looser stitch and you just cannot loosen up your tension, you can always go up a hook size or two, and that'll help create looser work. And then if you ever are a loose crocheter and you need to go tighter and you can't control your tension, you can go down a hook or two size. That will help your tension. I just love this red and hot pink. I think it is so cute. This is going to be perfect for Valentine's Day. You could do a red with white. You could do pinks with red or pinks with white. You can do any color combination you wanted to on these, just to make it unique for your holiday, your theme, your sports colors, your team colors, your favorite colors, whatever you want. I'm always a very colorful crocheter, so you will always hear me talking about using different colorways in any project that I make, because you could have a simple pattern like this scrunchie and it could look a million different ways depending on what colors that you use. And this is a great yarn stash buster, scrap buster. You could make these in multiple different colors, using up all of your stash. Now, if you don't want your hair scrunchie to be this full, you can just put less single crochets onto your hair elastic. So the more single crochets you put on that first initial row is going to determine how full your hair scrunchie is going to be. If you are putting 3 double crochets into each one of those, the more single crochets you put in that first row is going to translate to a thicker, fuller hair scrunchie. Okay, we're at our last one, so we have one more stitch here to do. So insert your hook, put your last single crochet in here. All right, and then what I like to do is just loosen it up a little bit and cut your end, leave a nice tail to weave in your ends. I like to pull that yarn out, and then I like to thread it on my darning needle. And I like to, this is the first stitch, I like to skip that one and insert it into the next one. Pull through, bring your yarn front, find that last stitch that you did and insert it in the front and catch the back there, pull it through. All right, that'll give a nice seamless end there. And then you can just tie it off in the back. So this hair scrunchie is going to get pulled a lot, so you want to make sure that it's nice and secure, so I always knot it. And then on the two-tone, we're not going to hide our end down here because that would show. So what we're going to do is just weave it in underneath these stitches, so it's not going to show as much in the red. So just insert your darning needle and you're going to make sure that you leave a stitch or two there. You're going to skip over that and go back in the opposite direction. Okay, pull through. And if you ever cut your yarn too short where you can't do that, take your darning needle and just insert it like this. Grab your yarn, put it on the end, pull through. So I like to make sure that everything that I make is nice and secure. All right, so you can just cut off your end there. And then we have where we connected our two colors. So we're just going to make sure that that knot is nice and tight. And we're just going to weave in our red color or whatever color you're using for the body. We're going to go down in here and we're going to hide our end in the same color that we used so it doesn't show as much. All right, so you're going to weave that end in and then you're going to cut your end. It's always nice to leave just a little extra so you're not fighting yourself. If you cut it too short, then it's harder. All right, so this color, we're going to do our best to go up here and we're going to hide it in the pink, just like we did for the other one. So just weave in. Weave in your ends nicely there, cut off any extra. Okay, we already hit our end from the very beginning when we first started. So there is our beautiful hair scrunchie. It's nice and full. Look how beautiful that is. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and watch for more videos.